Hey everybody, this is Colin once again. The topic of this video, as you can see, the names of God. What is God called in the Judeo-Christian Islamic traditions? I'm going to be mentioning a video by Jay entitled "Is Allah God?" Question mark. That's his video. This isn't really a rebuttal. I'm just discussing the name of God or the names of God in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran. In the Torah, we find Exodus chapter 3, which Jay quoted, that when Moses is going to go down to save and warn the children, the Jews, he asks, what name should I give? What is the name of this God that I'm talking to right now? I'm not quoting, verbatim, but this is basically paraphrasing. And God uses, for the respect of my audience, my Jewish audience, I will not be pronouncing the four-letter word. Jay said it however many times he said it. Not to put that a credit against Jay, but I'm just out of respect not going to say it. Four-letter word, which translates to English, I am that I am. On the side of Jay's video, he says that that's what it translates. That four-letter word, name, translates to I am that I am. Jay actually admits that on the text on the side of his video when you're watching it. Then he goes on to say, then let's continue with chapter 3 of Exodus. Then God changes his mind, and he says, tell them that I am sent you. And then finally he says, the children, tell them the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob sent you. This is my name eternal. So the question you have to ask yourself is, which name is eternal? Because he really gives himself a total of 5 names, if you will. Not also counting Elohim, which Jay mentions in Genesis. So he has 6 names now. Then you have also in the Hebrew text, they mention Lord, Adonai. Adonai is another name given to God. So now you have, once again, another name. I mentioned this in another video. I mentioned this that in Islam and Judaism, there are many names for God. Christians call Jesus Christ God. So I guess that's another name for God, if you want to count that. So then we go on to mention that Jay sort of contradicts himself. Not only in his video, but on the side text on the side of his video, he says that in John, the Gospel according to John, chapter 8, verse 58? Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. And he says that, Jay says that this is Jesus using the name of God for himself. But wait a minute. Is it the sacred name, the 4-letter word which no one should utter? Isn't that translated not just I am, but I am that I am? And some Jews actually translate it as I will be that I will be. So as I've said to people that I talk to, I say, what would have been impressive is if Jesus had said the idea, if he had actually said the 4-letter word. And in order for him to do that, he would have had to have said, I am that I am, or I will be that I will be, depending on the translation. Instead, he just says, I am. Which indeed is a name of God. But, according to Jay, according to his video, and his text information on the side of the video, that's not what it translates to. It translates to, I am that I am. So how is Jesus using the sacred name of God? Just a question I'd like to throw out there. And then you mention God coming down literally in John 3. You say that Allah is too distant. You said that in another video. Allah, the God in the Quran, Allah, he's too distant. In the Bible, he's right there for you. Jay, someone who's studied Islam for 25 years, and I'm sure that you have studied, I'm assuming you're Christian, so I'm assuming you know about the Judeo-Christian tradition. That the Jews read those scriptures, most Jews, metaphorically. I've mentioned this for Sean as well, Venom Fang X. God did not literally come down in Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. As much as you want him to come down literally, he did not come down. Judaism and Islam share this theology, as I've mentioned in my other videos, that God cannot be seen by human eyes. In fact, this contradicts the whole idea that the verse where God says in the Old Testament, no one can see me and live. So, if Adam could see God walking in, or hear God literally walking in the garden, and Abraham literally, as I've mentioned in the other video, saw God and talked with him, then he shouldn't be living right now. Or else God contradicted himself. So I'd love you to come up with an excuse for that one as well. Uh, the whole idea is that you're mixing theology. And you've blamed in other videos, you've blamed Islam for contradicting theology, the Jewish theology, the Christian theology. I would argue that Islam does not contradict the Jewish theology. The only difference between Judaism and Islam is that Islam accepts John the Baptist, Jesus, and Muhammad as prophets. The Jews don't. Their theology is very similar. If you take out that, you basically have the same religion. They might worship different, but they believe in the same theology, essentially. Christians, however, I would argue, this is no offense to you guys, I'm just saying that Christians actually change the theology. They say that Jesus is God incarnate. They say that God has to die for the sins of the world because of original sin, which is not a shared ideology of Islam or Judaism. To me, Jay, when you blame Islam for being the contradicting force here, to me, Christianity contradicts how God has explained himself in the Quran and in the Torah. And to me, I think that's just really funny that you have to blame Islam for everything. And as I've mentioned to Sean in my other videos, if you're going to blame Islam, in a way, you've got to blame Judaism. Now, that's pretty bad for Sean because he claims to be Jewish, or at least of the Jewish people. That's a pretty bad thing to be insulting your parent faith. And so to me, I think it's just kind of, I don't know if hypocrisy is the right word, but I think it's just really funny that you have to blame Islam for being different, yet Christianity is just so different in theology as opposed to Judaism and Islam. Created theologies that do not exist in Islam and Judaism. Anyway, this is kind of a random video once again, but I thought I'd just get that out there. I'd love to see the comments. Let me know what you think of these thoughts. I think it's important for all of us to do research in faith that we believe in, or faiths that we have an interest in, like myself, and to know where these faiths, where they were born, what they adhere to, what similarities they have, what differences they have. And Jay goes on and on and on that Islam's so different. Well, so far, Christianity seems to be the different theological factor. If you take out Jesus, John the Baptist, and Muhammad, Islam and Judaism, I would argue, is very similar. And you might have a difference of opinion, that's fine, but I think that I see that. When a Jew talks to a Muslim about some theological ideas, and a Muslim vice versa, it's very similar. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Please leave your comments, do your ratings. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, and I'd love to see what Jay has to say about the videos I've been making in the past couple months. And this is Colin, soon to come back.